Om. Adorations to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. And blessed self in all adorations. Shivratri is one of the most important sacred days, especially for sannyasis, those who have accepted the order of renunciation. And I will give you some insight into the mysticism. Firstly, Shiva. Shiva is a deity, one of the three deities most important. Shiva is the destroyer of the world. Vishnu is the sustainer. Brahma is the creator. You have creator, destroyer and sustainer, three aspects. God is one, but assumes different aspects. Worship of Hindu gods has deep symbolic and mystical implications. The form of Shiva, he has matted locks. Matted locks imply mysteries of spiritual life. Among the matted locks there flows the Ganges river. Just like in the physical plane, Ganges flows in the midst of the ranges of mountains. Ganges is a symbol of wisdom. On his forehead there is a crescent moon. Moon is the symbol of mind. When a mind is held in its absolute control, when it stops waxing and waning, the moon increases and decreases. But in Shiva, that moon is the crescent moon, just in the beginning stage. It doesn't wax nor wane, it is absolute under control. And Shiva has snakes for his adornments. Snakes symbolize cosmic powers. You remember the symbolism of Kundalini Yoga. The mystical power is represented by a snake. He sits on a tiger skin or any skin, which implies mastery over the lower self. He holds a trident. Trident implies all the triads, such as waking, dream, deep sleep, past, present, future, sattva, rajas, tamas. All the triads are represented by the trident. Also he has a mridanga, a special type of a drum that gives a banging sound. Each time that sound comes, the scientists say it is Big Bang. But for the scientists, Big Bang has been occurred only once. For philosophers, it has gone on for endless process. Shiva is the deity of destruction, and that's an important point to understand. Firstly, destroying the world process. Every soul is entangled in the world by karmic process. Every soul is intrinsically Shiva. Jiva is Shiva. The soul in Sanskrit is called Jiva. When the soul attains enlightenment, it discovers it is Shiva. Shiva is the absolute self. Shiva literally means all auspicious. How can a deity who destroys all be auspicious? That requires some mental exercise, some philosophy. As I was explaining the world process, the soul led by karma tumbles from one incarnation to another. But this world process is a state of bondage. There is no happiness here. When the soul attains enlightenment, the Lord Shiva then destroys the world for him. There is no longer world for the soul. But in order to reach that state, the soul must be wedded to intuitional knowledge. And Uma represents, Shiva's consort Uma represents intuitional knowledge. And she is considered the daughter of the Himalayas. Himalayas represent the mountains with eternal snows. Who could keep his head always cool other than the Himalayas? The only one who has eternity behind his head, he can keep his head always cool. And is that Himalayas gave birth to, rather brought forth Uma. Uma is considered the daughter, the goddess. In Kenopanishad recently you heard about how Uma appeared before gods and led Indra to understand the nature of Brahman, the absolute self. So sannyasins, people who aspire to attain enlightenment, they seek the grace of Uma. Devotionally and rationally, they promote intuitional intellect. When you promote an intuitional intellect, then you have received the grace of Uma. And through intuitional intellect, you are led to realize, I am not a jiva, I am Shiva. I am the absolute self. And that's the implication. Shiva marrying Parvati or Uma. Uma has various synonyms. Parvati, she is Jagadamba, Durga, Kali, all these are synonyms. She is Vidya, knowledge personified. And she is portrayed in a mystical way. At times she rides on a lion. You look at Shiva's family, you will be confounded. Shiva sits on a bull. The picture is right in front. Shiva sits on a bull. Bull represents dharma, righteousness. Uma or Parvati sits on a lion. The lion represents spiritual force, the force that tears ignorance apart. Ganesha, Shiva has two sons. Ganesha, who is first worshipped God, his vehicle is a rat. The rat represents subtle insight by which one practices reflection. When you practice reflection, you let loose a rat in your unconscious. And that rat goes on unentangling the subtle complexes of your mind. That's what rats do. They get into hidden areas of your room and they go on tearing up everything. Things that cannot be cut easily, the rat's teeth cut them. In the modern world, and rat is a promoter of knowledge. And in an uncanny way, the modern world, the computers ride on the vehicle of a mouse, a rat. So it is not far-fetched. The Ganesha, the deity of knowledge, rides on a mouse. Kartikeya sits on peacock. Peacock with its dazzling wings, feathers, multicolored feathers, represents development of divine virtues, all numerous virtuous qualities. And Lord Shiva has snake twirling and curling around his neck. The snake represents the Kundalini Shakti, cosmic power. So, if you look at that family of Shiva, you will realize that it will not be easy to hold contradictory type of creatures together. Bull and lion, they are not friends. Peacock and a mouse, they are not friends. Peacocks eat up mouse. They eat up also snakes. The snakes eat up mouse. Mutually they are contradictory. And yet in Shiva's family they are held together. Speaking from another angle, the whole world is Shiva's family. The elements contradict each other. Fire and water, they can't sit together as friends. The wind and earth cannot sit together. Elements are at war, but by divine will they are held in perfect balance. They operate under perfect control. All these are subtle implications. Why is Shiva mostly adored by sannyasi? Because sannyasins, their goal is destruction of the world process, effacing the world process. Destruction not physically. It is that subtle ignorance that puts your soul into many embodiments, and that is the destruction. In order to bring about destruction of the world process, you need to develop vairagya. Vairagya means dispassion. And Shiva's form is the embodiment of dispassion. Shiva is said to abide in cremation grounds. He besmears himself with ashes. His adornment is skulls. A humorous story is given by Saint Tulsidas in the Ramayana when Shiva was going to be married to Uma. First, all the gods came with their party. Shiva came with his. They mingled together, and it seems so confusing because there are different types of people mingled together. So Lord Vishnu humorously advised that let each god have his party separate. So Shiva's party started first. Shiva's party, all those attendants of Shiva and all those who are closely related to Shiva, they are most hideous to look at. They are called Bhutganas. They are ghosts, pishachas, they are skeletons, and terrifying figures. And Shiva went, that's the way Shiva went to marry Uma. First, when the people in the city saw procession coming, they all ran to their houses. They were terrified. Then after came Vishnu's and other gods, and then they were filled with great joy. The idea is that real prosperity must be backed up by vairagya. The first step in Shiva's marriage is to understand the stripped off the vanity of the world. The world is nothing but those Shiva's party. Put on X-ray glasses and you will see Shiva's party everywhere. All skeletons sitting together, the jaws coming together, ribs expanding and contracting. That's with the vision of vairagya, dispassion. You see people as material, matter converted into flesh and blood. But behind that lies the power of spirit. It is the spirit that makes your body meaningful. And that spirit is your identity, not your body. And that's the beginning of appreciating Shiva's party, beginning of appreciating Shiva's marriage. So Vairagya is the beginning. If Vairagya you have developed, then you will encounter the party of Indra, the party of Brahma, the party of Vishnu. All great things will come, implying you will develop the spirit of creativity, you will develop progress, success, great divine qualities. But all this must be backed up by Vairagya. And the ultimate end of your whole spiritual movement is the non-duality of Shiva. The whole earth is a cremation ground. Every time you pick up a handful of dust, so many bodies are involved in it. Millions have come and gone. They turn to dust. They mingle with the earth. And not only on this earth, but in this entire universe, this process goes on, creation, destruction. So, that is, Shiva represents that spirit of absolute renunciation, the negation of the world process, and therefore viewed as, by people who do not have Vairagya, viewed as terror. But at the same time, Shiva is all auspicious. It is said that while Lord Vishnu reflects before he gives his boon, Lord Vishnu uses some consideration. Shiva does not. And just to give you a humorous, Draupadi in her previous birth had worshipped Shiva for having a husband. Shiva appeared before her. And Draupadi said, I want a good husband. Shiva kept quiet. She repeated 5 times. He said, he will have 5 husbands. The implication is the divine self within you grants any desire that you hold as supermost. It is up to you to face it. The risk is yours. Shiva is there to grant it. If that is what you want, you will have it. Shiva worship comes closest to worshipping the absolute without form. Because in worship there are 2 stages, saguna, with form, with attributes, and without form, without normal attributes. And Shiva, another form of Shiva that is worshipped is Shiva Linga. Shiva Linga is an oval mass of stone. Actually, it is suggestive of flame. Each time a flame burns, it is a oval effulgence, light. Shiva is a symbol of that type of worship of Shiva. Means Shiva is the symbol of pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is the mystical light that burns in your heart eternally. In your heart there is the temple, Shivalaya. Within that temple burns that flame, Shivalinga. Is a Jyotirmayananda, it is effulgent, always beckoning you to attain enlightenment. Therefore, on Shivratri days in India, many people receive initiation into sannyas. One most important story is to bring out the glory of Shivratri. There was a hunter. He hunted all day and that was his profession. One particular day, as he was hunting in the forest, he did not receive anything to bring back to his home, to his family. No meat, no food was available. And he became his as time had passed, he had become more and more miserable. He found the forest was not providing with him with sufficient means. And on that particular night, he sat on a tree. The tree happened to be a bilwa tree, a tree that has 3 leaves, triplets of leaves, and it has a herbal effect, medicinal, etc. I will not go into details. He sat on that tree, is considered sacred to Shiva. And under that tree there happened to be a Shiva linga. Some forest tribe people had established Shiva in the form of linga. He didn't know that. He simply sat upon the tree, shed tears because he was in grief. And just being bored, he went on plucking the leaves. The tears dropped upon the linga and also the leaves. Shiva became pleased, because that's the way Shiva is worshipped. He worshipped with the water and the offering of leaves. And he granted him prosperity, and after his death, immortality. Now this is the story of every soul. Every soul is a hunter. You are hunting after pleasures of the senses. But there comes a time we realize you can't hunt anymore. The world cannot provide you with your perfect satisfaction. So you climb the bilwa tree of sadhana. You break the triad of illusion. Shed the tears of devotion. Please Lord Shiva. And when Lord Shiva is pleased, you become a Jivan Mukta. You become liberated in life and after death, conducted to Shiva. May you receive the blessings of Lord Shiva. Om Shanti Shanti.